Suicide is a very prevalent issue today, and it's always been, but at least we're making progress in how we deal with it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that still don't treat this as seriously as they should, because there's people that that you might not even realize are going through this stuff. So I just wanted to sort of make this documentary to show people that this thing we call life is worth living, even through the bad, and that a lot of times it's very easy to forget that you're not alone, but you're not. So anyway, without further ado, this is 13 Reasons Why Not.
Honestly, I think what I love about life is, I've got like my little creative hobbies, and sometimes I doubt myself and I'm like, I'm not that good, or I could be better, or there's always something that's maybe better than me. But it still enables me to create something, and it's something more than myself, and I love it and I really enjoy it. In periods when I was really depressed, I wasn't taking any photos, I wasn't painting, I wasn't drawing, and now that I'm, I guess, better, because I really do treat it like an illness, I'm creating a lot more things and I enjoy it, and it's kind of like an outlet for all this like creative energy. And even if you've got like negative energy, you can still get that out. Mental health issues are legitimate health issues, and they should be treated that way. And a lot of kids especially, they don't get help because they're afraid of being judged or stigmatized, and even adults. But I think if more people got help, like saw a therapist or a psychiatrist, or just like talk to somebody about it, it would kind of eliminate some of this. But when you just stay wrapped up in your own head for so long, then there's nobody to tell you like this is a bad idea, or these are what the repercussions are. You just think this is the way out, and like this is the only option I see in the future, but it's not the only option you have.
What do I love about life? It's actually a hard question. Not in a bad way, but like it's actually kind of a hard question. I love music, and I think like there's a lot of like bad times in life, but like I think the thing that keeps me going are like, I don't know, like certain nights, if that makes sense, certain days or moments where like you're living and you're like, oh shit, that was like a really cool moment, or like it's like 3 a.m. and you're like talking to your friends and you've had some beer, or you're watching a sunset, and like it's like unforgettable, and it's like one of those like days or nights you want to like stay up all night and you're like hanging out with your buds, and I don't know, dude, I guess like it's those moments that like kind of make everything else that's kind of shitty worth it. It wouldn't be true to say like that I wake up every morning and I'm like, life's awesome, like I want to get out of bed, I want to like do all these cool things. Like it's kind of the moments unplanned, finding a new song you really like, watching a movie that you really connect to, reading a book that is awesome, doing something that's fulfilling to you, like for me, like I don't know, like writing or listening to music, really genuine talks with people that you don't really get often, like, which for me I call them like night talks, or drunk talks, because you're more honest and you kind of realize that people really aren't that shitty. The thing that keeps me, I guess, living are those small genuine moments that you have. You never know where you'll be in 10 years or 5 years or yet tomorrow. The longest thing you'll ever do in life is live. So make it worth it. In high school, there was a chain of students that committed suicide, and it was a really, really sad time at my high school that really impacted the student body and stuff. My grandma died when I was 5, but I guess that was like the first time realizing that like young people could die too. When I was in high school, I was in a really bad relationship when I was 14, 15. And afterwards, I started compartmentalized and blocked a lot of things out, and I definitely had thoughts of suicide, but it wasn't really like that I wanted to die. It was like that I didn't want it to continue, meaning like the way that I was feeling. For suicide for me, it was more like I'm not going to kill myself, but I wouldn't mind if I didn't wake up tomorrow.
My first experience with suicide was probably when one of my good friends accidentally shot himself. It was a shitty time. Then I had another friend who was depressed and who was going through some stuff, and he was one of my high school buddies. He wasn't like my other friend, and he was going through some stuff, and he ended up ODing on some pills, which you know, it's Kentucky. We're known for that kind of thing. I personally haven't ever gotten to the point where I feel like I've needed to commit suicide. I've gotten close. I've definitely had my bouts, and I've also been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. So, you know, it has gotten pretty bad at times. I do empathize entirely with those that do, though, because of my PTSD and because of the friends that I've lost. It's very important. When it comes to life, I'd say the most important thing, the thing that I love about it, is my girlfriend. She's, like I was telling my buddies earlier, I love her to death, and I wanted her on my vacations, and I wanted her, I mean, she can fly anywhere in the world for free because her dad's at Delta and works at Delta, and I don't think I can handle it if she left every weekend. You know, we're pretty close at this point. But the other thing about life is that no matter how shitty it is, and this is gonna sound so cliche, oh man, no matter how shitty it is, it can get better, and it can go on forever. It can go on for years and years and years, and you will think, oh, it's never gonna get better, but it will. You just kind of have to get through the shitty part, and that's always the hard part.
I think honestly, the thing I most love about life is the people in my life, my family and my friends, and how they make me feel good every day, and how they positively influence the way I move about my life and help me.
Is there anything else?
God, hamburgers. I do love hamburgers.
Sometimes it's the little things, man.
It is, and I think that's a really big thing that a lot of people ignore is it's the little things. You gotta enjoy little things, like hamburgers, especially when there's no cheese on them.
Oh, yuck. And so, do you have any experiences you'd like to share regarding suicide?
Yeah, when in middle school, it was a really rough time. I was really bullied really bad, and I had contemplated suicide, and it was just a really, really dark time in my life, but I eventually fought through it with church and my friends and family always being there for me by my side to help me out whenever I needed to talk. And there were a lot of times that I needed to talk because of thoughts of suicide. I never attempted it, but it was just a really dark time in my life, and a time I just don't want to ever go back to.
And you said you were on antidepressants, correct?
I was on antidepressants for multiple years.
What did you think about that?
They made me feel a lot better. With my friends and family helping me out, one of the biggest players too was medicine. Modern medicine really does work if you use it right. That's one of the biggest things that helped me get over my depression.
What do you think about the stigmas against mental health issues, where people see it like it's not an actual health issue, it's all just in your head?
Those people, they'll never know unless they go through something like it. It is something, there's something wrong, and you know it is not just you, one begging for attention or anything like that. They have no clue.
When you wake up every day, there's like anything could happen. And, you know, if someone chooses to end their life, they know what's going to happen, so there's none of that optimism. And you miss out on being outside and seeing all the pretty things that there is. I think depression and anxiety and having suicidal thoughts and stuff like that, I just think some people are more inclined to it than others. I've had a lot of experiences with it. A lot of family members have been depressed, and a lot of friends. I had a sophomore year of high school, I had a few friends that ended up in the hospital because they tried to kill themselves. It's a lot of young people, I think, that do it. They're just unsure and anxious. Everyone's thought about it, I think, to a certain extent. I've thought about it before. I had depression in high school. I was on depression meds at one point. I don't know.
just wing it? I'm like,
Yeah, man.
all right. I mean, I can do that. Anger has been a big role in my life, as well as weird, depressing feelings, and it constantly haunts me. My thoughts never fucking shut up. I have OCD and anxiety and depression, and it's just all too much sometimes. So normally when I have any bad feelings, it's not like just sadness or just anger, it's everything at once. I don't know how to, I can't explain myself on how I feel. I think irrationally, and I say things that I don't mean sometimes, and I did a lot of stupid things growing up because, that was the first time I'd experienced these feelings. It was hard for me to, grasp the concept of how to make it better, or if it was gonna be better. There were people I was more comfortable talking about it with them, but I don't think I ever really knew how to explain why I was even angry. I don't even know. Sometimes I was just so mad. It was over something little that triggered it. There were a lot of times where I really did. I thought I was committed to kill myself. I didn't care. I didn't want to be here. I didn't know who to talk to. I was still figuring out who my friends were and who were my actual friends. I had a lot of friends, but they didn't extend outside of school. It was just there. Therapy helped. It's not nearly as bad now. I obviously still have problems, but I think I have them under control. I'm better able to help other people that have the same problem because I understand it. And I think that's a blessing in disguise, I guess. I definitely saved my cousin from doing something that probably would have changed me forever. I don't think I'd be able to live with myself. So, I'm glad that he came to me and he knew that I was there for him, but I don't know.
What I love about life is you never know what's going to happen, in the future. You could have a perfect life ahead of you. You could have lots of money, a house, a car, both, or you could just be homeless and be just as happy. I've had a first cousin that killed himself over his wife leaving him. I've had a lot of family members that have been suicidal. I've been suicidal before. Not much has gone through my mind. I was pretty much numb a long time. So, not much was going on in my head. I was just like, what's the point?
So what do I enjoy about life? What keeps me going is, it's a good question. I love music, personally. Listening to music, discovering new music, going to see live music, playing music with my friends or on my own is always a huge thing, and it enhances the quality of life. I feel like it's, you can watch movies and you can, go to an art museum and look at, paintings or something like that. But I feel like music is always there. It's something that you can be passive in, but you can it's also active, and it's a beautiful form of art, and it resonates with me very deeply. And music has definitely gotten me out of some really, really hard times, and I know it has for other people too. That makes me happy. That keeps me going. I also like other forms of art. I love seeing new movies. I love seeing TV shows. I love looking at art and discovering new artists, and then researching about their lives and see what kind of obstacles that they've had to overcome in their lives. And to know that everybody has gone through the same thing, more or less. There's somebody that's lived in the entirety of human existence that has gone through the same as somebody else has, or worse. So everybody has their own experiences, but I think it's important to remember that you're not alone. Nobody's ever alone when it comes to this kind of stuff. When you're low enough to feel those things and think those thoughts, it's really easy to forget. You feel alone. Yeah, so as far as what makes me happy, yeah, that makes me happy. Hanging out with my friends makes me happy. Meeting new people makes me happy. I've had suicidal thoughts before, sure. For a long period of time in my teenage years, I almost had it nonstop, and maybe there wasn't a huge catalyst for it or anything. Maybe it was hormone imbalances. That's something else that you have to realize, it's never your fault. I know when I felt like that, I felt alone. And I'm not saying suicide is the easy way out or anything like that, but it's definitely the wrong choice.
I don't know, I think that I have a goal. I think goals are really important to living life, and having a passion about something is really important to keep yourself going, and you know there's bad things that happen, and they can all build up at once. feel really shitty, time makes everything better.
So what passions do you have?
Medicine. I want to go into the medical field and treat people and help people, and I want to have a family one day and be able to travel. I want to have a big front porch on my house, and I don't know. I aspire to things, and that's what keeps me going because I haven't reached them yet.
So because you're going into medicine, what do you think about the people that don't really consider this a medical issue, like a mental health issue?
They're wrong. Well, mental health in general has progressed a lot in the last 100 years. I mean, there is like physical differences in the brains between people that are depressed or have psychological disorders, and they can see it now. So I mean, and now we can treat it. So people that don't believe in science and proof, just ignorant. But it's weird the way that we talk about mental illness. It's like just, you know, feel better, like just, you know, go in, son, get there, like whatever. Just like, we don't talk about it as though it's like you need to address it as a treatment. Like you give a person a treatment for it, and we just think, oh, you'll get over it. Oh, just give it some time. I said that earlier, but I mean, that's not all it is. It's a difference in your brain, and you need help.
I like just the experiences of life. I just want to go out there and just relax and have all the experiences I can. Just those memories is what makes life good for me. Something to pass on, maybe just to say, hey, I've done this. I mean, I've had a couple close ones myself. The one here recently that happened was a friend of mine, and we had grown up since like preschool, and I had eventually moved out like to a different part of town. I'd say we were about 10 or 11 when we left there. Like, we were best friends. We ended up like fighting all the time, playing video games, just wrestling, good old trampoline times. But after I moved out, his parents split up, and they were raised very Pentecostal. The dad was a straight Pentecostal man, and that was really rigorous on his wife, I guess. So she ended up leaving him, went and got tattoos, piercings, and eventually got into drugs really bad, which tore him up a little bit, and then he eventually got into them himself. But we met back up in college, in high school, and we started being friends again, because I was like, hey, we're about the same place. So I hung out with him for a long time. He played a lot of music and stuff and was really artsy. All that stuff had hit him really hard. He was living between those two parents, and it was just tearing him apart. On top of, he was starting to have mental health issues himself, having to be sent off to Rivendell, which is the child institution or whatever. Got sent there a couple times, and I guess after all that beat down on him for so long, I got a call probably about half a year ago that I picked up the phone, and one of my friends was crying to me and said he had waited till everybody was out of this house that they were just about to build. Like, they were building it up, and it was just like the skeleton of the house. Said he stuck a shotgun in his mouth, pulled the trigger, and then he was alive all the way to the ER and in like immense care unit. Like, he was a good friend of mine and just a good guy.
Personally, I don't know anyone that's committed suicide, but there's been times where I've considered it. I've never gone through with it, because no matter how bad times were, you know that things are gonna get better. One of my favorite quotes by John Lennon was, "In the end, everything will be okay, and if it's not okay, then it's not the end." And that made me realize the bigger picture. Like, you're growing stronger through each bad experience you have, and just know that through each bad experience there's going to be a good experience. For each positive there's a negative, and for each negative there's a positive. What I love about life is meeting all kinds of different people and learning from other people, and just understanding each other, because we really are all connected. And I don't believe we're here for any reason, but we create our reason, and that's the fun in it. I can love and happiness, and I can share that with everybody, and that's important in life, is being able to share good times with the people you love. And there's just so much beauty, and I don't think I could ever leave that. You're only here for a short amount of time to begin with. Don't cut it even shorter.
Let's just be thankful that I am here today, because I'm dead serious. That was the closest I've ever came to death in my entire life. I mean, I'm only 14. It scared me. It was all just because of school drama almost. It was basically 100% school drama. I was just too impressionable at that age. In a way, they just weren't my real friends. And before this, I didn't know the difference between a giver and a taker. So, and you know, to have someone so close in your life at such a young age, because you're just so attached to things at such a young age, you don't know, you know, this is a bad idea. You know, I tried to kill myself. I took pills. I mean, in a way, I had an impulse when I did that. I did share it with people. I didn't keep that balled up. I couldn't sit there and keep doing it to myself. I did let someone know, and I did get help. So that's a good thing. I mean, I did stay at a behavioral center, and it really helped. I mean, going to therapy, just talking to anyone, just letting anyone know like what's happening in your life, you know what I mean? Like, just it's terrible to ever not let anyone know what's going on in your life, because like there's no matter what, there's always one person that will hear you out, whether even if it's your closest family member or it's your most distant, your therapist you just met or something, you know what I mean? I don't know, but there's always someone out there in this world that will talk to you about it, and they will help you. So, and one of the main parts of my depression was really just it was just pure fear. Like, it was just, I didn't want to do anything but just be negative. So the only thing that really kept me going was just using it in different ways and altering what I had as those emotions now. Like, why was I this angry? You know, I brought it to other things. I brought it to be more innovative. I transmuted my feelings, and I don't know, it's not easy for everyone to do. They're stuck in positions where they're just always down and sad, and it sucks. But I mean, you know, when you do find that one thing in your life, it's so good to keep that, and you just want to keep going. Especially if you actually had become, like, if you've been near death, it's one of the most, it's like you reconsider everything. You really do. You don't even, it's just like, it's a pure impulse. It's human impulse. I don't care what anyone says. No matter what, how bad you're going through, there's not one thought of regret that you get when you do kill yourself. I mean, there's people that have gone through and killed themselves, but I know for a fact that there's not one thing that they didn't be like, wow, I enjoyed that, you know what I mean, before they did. There's always one bit of regret, and that's what's going to keep you from ever going over that edge, because it's not hard to get there. When you're a kid, and school is your life too. You go to school every single day, and when you have such negative, like, everyone making fun of, there's always the kid getting bullied. There's always a receiver of them. There's never just, it's bad. I don't like it. I don't like the way the school system's set up and how that's derived to be or it's forced in to be your life. And like, we should just be more strict on the punishments of actual bullying, and how, because that literally changes people's lives. Yeah, I don't know many people else that I personally know that have gone through what I've gone through, and that's what made it really hard for me, is because I felt like I was always different. I was secluded from people, and the way that my mind worked, I felt like I was crazy, but I wasn't.
So I guess I should talk about what I love about life. There's so much out there to see and experience. I love music. I love rock and roll. You can fall in love with somebody. You can make new friends that'll last a lifetime. You know, making this documentary was important to me because this is something that a lot of my friends have gone through and that I've gone through myself. I've had points where I definitely was considering committing suicide. Sometimes all it takes is just hearing the right person say that, hey, I want you to stick around, or just calling a suicide hotline. I remember I was one night really drunk and feeling really bad. I was in a lot of pain emotionally and mentally, and I was fully prepared to kill myself. I went out to my car, and I was planning on driving to a bridge, jumping off. I don't know what it was, something inside of me made me decide to call the suicide hotline, and I talked to them for an hour. And these people, you can just tell the sympathy and empathy that they have for you. They really don't want you to hurt yourself. I mean, they're taking time out of their lives to help you because They either know people who have been through that, they've been through it themselves, or they just care. And sometimes that's all it takes to stop you from going over the edge and doing something that you can't take back. So I urge all of you that are going through something like this, just remember you're not alone, and that people do care, and they want to see you do great things in your life, and it's not going to happen if you end it prematurely.